Hi folks, Terry back with another video. I've been talking to my nephew recently about all the great tips on getting old Marx locomotives running again from my friend Ben over at benstrains.com. And so my nephew has presented me with a challenge. What you're looking at is a Marx pre-war Commodore Vanderbilt. Now this Commodore has been in my family for quite a few years. My dad is 94 years old, and this is the Commodore Vanderbilt that his father bought him when he was a boy, and then he passed it on to one of my older brothers, who then gave it to his nephew. Now, about 10 years ago, after this locomotive had sat for decades in a basement and not run, I got it out and for him. He brought it to me and I was able to get it running. You can see on the pickup shoes now, the contactor has a lot of oxidation on it, and the groove showing that my dad really did play with this quite a bit. My nephew also gave me, to try to get going, this Marx 490 with the micro motor. That is, you see, quite dirty and dusty. I don't know how long it's been since this ran. Again, a lot of corrosion, the oxidation on the contactor, but the wheels do turn quite freely. So I'm going to try to give that a lubrication and see what happens. Same with the Commodore. Again, the wheels do turn. And this very dusty extra 490 shell. Now, if you notice on the first 490, it has a chip in the top of the cab. So what my nephew asked me to do is if I could clean up the spare shell and that isn't damaged and swap the two out for him if I can get them running. The other thing my nephew gave me was an entire box of an original Marx track that has just been eaten alive in rust. So that will be going into the vinegar to be derusted, and in hopes of getting it back in working order. I really believe that this can be done. I'll put it closer so you can just see how rusty that is. The rails are literally brown with rust. Hopefully after about 24 hours in the vinegar, and then rinsing it with baking soda and warm water and baking it in an oven for about an hour at 150 degrees, this track will come back. And what's nice about derusting in vinegar is it not only derusts the rails and the pins, it also derails it inside, and it's a lot easier than scraping and sanding. And even if you can get it with sandpaper off the rails, that still doesn't get the inside of the rails clean like the vinegar does. What vinegar does is actually, it's a chemical reaction that turns the rust, which is iron oxide, into ferric oxide, which is then removed, and you can just basically wipe it off with a Scotch-Brite pad in the vinegar when you neutralize it with the baking soda. The reason for neutralizing the baking soda is so it doesn't re-rust when you put it in the oven to dry it. So that'll be another process. So first, let's take a look at this Commodore Vanderbilt. I have my oil here and my razor blade, and we're just going to try to put some oil on the armature shaft and the output shaft and see if we can't get this running. Let me set this track aside too. Be right back. Okay, that's got all that track out of the way, so we'll just take here and, like my friend Ben showed me, a drop of oil on the armature shaft and a drop on the output shaft. Let that soak in, and we'll take the razor blade and scrape that contactor too. And get all that corrosion off. So we get a good electrical connection when we put it on the rails. This is a pre-war Commodore Vanderbilt, so I'm 51, so it's quite a bit older than I am. It's about almost twice as old as I am. And it gave my dad many hours of joy as a boy. So now we got that scrape. I'm going to put it on the outside rail of the layout and see what it does. We'll turn the power on. And it runs forward. Okay. And it runs backward. The unit works well. Now consider this little locomotive sat for decades not being run. All right, I'm going to put it in a consist and see how it does. Grab the phone off the tripod. And I will put it back here on a consist and see how it does. Okay. Turn it on. And look at that. You would not know that that train sat in an attic, was not run for over 40 years. Just look at that. Marx really made these bulletproof. And all I have done is oiled the armature shaft, the output shaft, and scraped the contactor. Just wonderful. So I'm probably going to do is give this thing a good lube and tune and oil the paint, touch it up in some areas, take care of whoever decided to paint the domes and the smokestack gold, get them back to their original silver, and probably put a lens in there, the headlight work, to cover up that headlight hole. Hey, now we'll take a look. I'll put the phone back on the tripod and we'll take a look at that 490, see what we can do with that. On here. All right, the 490 again. We'll put some oil in the output shaft, the armature shaft. That's like the output shaft there, excuse me. I had it right the first time. And a little on the armature. Hard to get in here on this. Spin. And we'll see and scrape those contactors and see what happens. Scrape this contactor good. Now this is a locomotive that my dad actually bought for my older brother. And again, my nephew inherited both these locomotives when my brother was tragically killed by a hit-and-run driver. Get this contactor really good. Just going to scrape these. Now, word of caution when you're scraping is if there's a lot of green on these, that corrosion, you want to be very careful not to breathe that in. It is highly toxic. But this doesn't have the green. It's just a little bit of discoloration on the contactor from just sitting and not being used. Yeah, show that pretty good, enough to test it. All right, I'm going to put it on the rail. And we'll see what it does. Turn the power on. Move back and... well, it's trying. Let's see. Let's see now. Okay. Just It is definitely trying to go. Okay, the 490 is going to need some more work to get it. Wait, there we go. No. To get it running. Wait, there. It's trying. And get it to go. Okay, so I'm going to have to give that some more work. It is dead as a hammer. It's trying, just not getting anywhere. So I will have to give that some more tune up and work and see if we can't get that running again and clean it up. So I'll be coming back with some follow-up videos on both these locomotives, on getting them running and on the derusted track. So please stay tuned. As always, I want to thank you for watching my videos, and if you have any comments or questions, you can drop me an email at j as in John, omd67 @gmail.com. And again, thanks for watching.